For the Beckley City Common Council for April 12th, 2022 will now come to order. And we're very pleased this evening to have the Weeblo, the Cub Scout Troop, 1993, with us to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So young men, anytime you're ready, we are. Where would you like to do it? So, yeah, come out here. That'd be great. That's great. Well, that's a good looking group of young men there.
Yes, sir.
So when you're ready.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, our first order of business this evening, reading and approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting dated March 22nd, 2022.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
And seconded.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of March 22, 2022. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign. That motion carries. Next, it's a privilege this evening to present the current Deputy Chief Dean Bailey to council and with a recommendation that he be approved for promotion to become the new Chief of Police for the city of Beckley. So, Deputy Chief Bailey, do you have any words to say prior to the vote? Okay, all righty.
It's not official yet, huh?
There we go. Okay, do we have a motion to approve this appointment of Deputy Chief Dean Bailey to Chief of Police for the city of Beckley?
I'll make
So
that
moved.
motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the promotion of Deputy Chief Bailey to Chief of Police. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 That motion carries. Thank you. Now, Chief, do you have any words that you'd like to say?
Mayor, thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you, council, for having made comments to me and letting me continue to serve the citizens of Beckley in this position.
Very good. Thank you very much. You'll do well. Outgoing Chief Christian, who we'll miss dearly, do you have any words that you'd like to say?
You know, I think I said all of my stuff there at my reading.
You did a good job.
I'll just kind of just go on and just say that I want to thank you for the opportunity. I've been very blessed over the past 8 years, serving that capacity. Made a lot of really good friendships with council members, department heads, citizens within Beckley. It's been a true honor, and I really enjoyed it. And I just want to thank everyone for their support and well wishes. And thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Next, the current Chief of Detectives, David Allard, is not with us this evening. He has a youngster who was ill and needed to stay home to take care of that child. But I will say that both the gentlemen who just spoke, our departing chief, our new chief, and Chief of Detective Dave Allard are all three graduates of the FBI National Academy, which in my mind is very significant. I've been told that on a per capita basis that the city of Beckley, the police department can boast more FBI National Academy graduates than any city in the state, which speaks very well of our police department. It's an honor, obviously, to be invited to attend the academy, and it's even more of an honor to successfully graduate from that demanding curriculum, I'm sure. So that's great. So The next order of business is approval of David Allard's promotion to Deputy Chief of Police of the City of Beckley, who will replace the now Chief Dean Bailey as Deputy Chief. So if we have a motion to appoint David Allard, that would be appreciated.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. David Allard be promoted to Deputy Chief for the City of Beckley. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like
Aye.
sign. That motion carries. Very good. We'll give David a round of applause and that sensitive. Very good. Thank you. Next, we have a presentation by somebody we all know and has done a wonderful job for, in the old days, the Red Cross, and more recently in the past number of years for the Theater of West Virginia. And that's Scott Hill, who has embarked on a very aggressive and ambitious challenge to actually move the McDowell County city of Coalwood, the home of the Rocket Boys, to Beckley. So with that, Scott, if you'll bring us up to date, you can come over here if you'd like.
Microphone, because, you know, I'm really bashful and.
Such a soft voice.
Okay with that, all right.
Okay.
I want to say that this room kind of scares me a little bit, because without this room, Peter, West Virginia would not be here. Without the city of Beckley, without Black Knight, without Leslie Baker, without you guys, mayors, previous administrations. One, easier to be here, but especially in 2014, when we had $19 in the bank. The city of Beckley's helped us when we needed it, whether it was a place to have our kids' academy, which is in Maxwell Hill Community Center, as we speak. Whether it was Black Knight, whether it was LeBron. So thank you, mayor, council, everybody else that's helped us with Peter, West Virginia. Homer Hickam has been one of the great assets that we've had for me, just to meet this man, because of Peter, West Virginia. If you're familiar with Homer's work, you know 1960 Coalwood doesn't really exist down in McDowell County anymore. It exists in Homer's books and will exist on our stage, because we're trying to bring Coalwood, a version of Coalwood, back up to the stage and at Granby. And I'm here to ask council if they would consider helping us financially with doing it. What that does, that gives us the ability to not only produce a show, which most of our shows we produce, then we tear them down and we move them to the next show. Well, this is going to be a permanent set of coal over the coal mine, the bad character. You got Homer's Elsie Hickham's mother's rose garden fence. There's multiple different things that we're going to try to build and keep at Theater West Virginia. That way, Theater West Virginia can continually do Rocket Boys the musical, like we do Hatfields and McCoys, like we do Honey in the Rock. It's an investment, but I think it's an investment that will pay dividends. Homer Hickam is one of the great assets that Southern West Virginia has. I can't buy him something that he would appreciate, but I'm going to show him that we respect him. And I'm asking council to help us do that financially. So if there's any questions about what we have planned, we're going to build it. They will come. We're in a national park. We're not in a small park anymore. We're not competing against the other state parks. We're competing against Mount Rushmore. We're competing against a lot of different other things. But Beckley is used to a small museum winning. So we're going to try to do the same thing. All right, we have to put that out there. So we wouldn't be here without you. We're asking the city to participate in what we're doing at Theater West Virginia. And hopefully the 62, this is our 62nd season. Hopefully we'll have 102 seasons. But if there's any questions for the council, I don't know if that's appropriate at this point in time, but if there is, I'll be happy to answer any questions you would have.
I guess one question I have, Scott, would be, what do you think the cost of this transformation of the set will be?
Up to $15,000, maybe a little more, but right, $15,000 is what we're thinking now. With the supply chain issues going the way they are, that's close, but we don't know for sure because, sometimes 2x4 is this on Tuesday and that much on Wednesday. But we think we can pull that off for $15,000, and really put a quality product on the stage for people to come from all over the country. Last year, in a typical year, Theater West Virginia receives 50% of its guests are local. Over 50% of them are not. 48 different states. 48 different states. Get to go home and talk about something about West Virginia. We want to make sure they talk about something that shines. And that's why I'm here to ask you for help. Help make it sense.
Very good.
I'll take checks from that much to that much. I mean,
Right.
But, any other questions, Mayor? Any other questions? You always have questions.
No, I'm good. I'll support Theater West Virginia.
Okay.
Sure.
So, like I said, this is a unique year for us. We've got 5 concerts, 4 shows, and it's going to be really a fun time. And think about it. When your family goes home to Ohio, Kentucky, wherever they're from, we want them to say good things about us. So help us make that happen. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Good job. There's no doubt about the wonderful contribution Theater West Virginia makes to the city of Beckley, both in its reputation and our striving to be an arts community. But certainly, I think every hotel and restaurant owner would also say there's a tremendous benefit there for those people from the 48 states. So my plan would be to request council to consider a resolution to be presented at the next meeting for $15,000. And we'll see how council feels about that. But to me, it's a solid investment for me personally. So we'll try to do that. Thank you. Next, we're down to old business. I'll lead off with just a couple of things. Yesterday, we consummated the deal with Matt Bickey for the deed transfer of the WJLS building, and which council had approved recently on 2 readings, and that was much appreciated. We're in conversations with the Hive, who has indicated a big interest in possibly being a lessee of that property, and with the potential, if their grant efforts come through, to make a substantial improvement, renovation of the JLS building. So that's kind of where we are on that. The next item, which is near and dear to everybody's heart, and I'll ask Leslie to chime in if she will, on the lifeguard situation and potential for the USA Pools agreement.
I called today. She just got back from vacation. The lady I've been working with, she did not get back to me, but he said that she might not be able to. We have a couple of questions, but Bill File and Billy and Jessica and I are upset, and we have a couple of things we need to finalize with the contract, and hopefully with Bill's approval, we'll go ahead. And we had a question when we can put it on the next agenda so that you all can vote on it. And if you all have any questions, and Bill has sent everything to you, I know you went over it quite a bit. So we're hoping, and also had contact with the YMCA. They have 16 people signed up. As of yet, nobody has taken the actual certification class. They have taken some prerequisites. The first kids that took the prerequisites were not interested in the city. They were committed to the hot pool, to Molly out at Lake Stevens, and 2 of them were from Welsh. They did not give me the breakdown, but as of yet, nobody has actually passed the certification. So
Very good.
we're having it after the holiday weekend.
Well, we'll knock on wood, but the financial survey of the past 4 or 5 years since 2016 versus what we think this program would cost is very favorable.
Yes.
And I would like to emphasize that the city of Beckley is not in the swimming pool business to make a profit. It's to serve the citizens of Beckley, and we'll do that as long as we can afford to do so. But this program appears to have the potential to actually maybe even break even, which I don't think we've ever done. So maybe once in 2016 we did. So
It's,
yeah,
you have to have a really good year with a lot of sunny.
a lot of sunshine. Yeah.
There was a year where it was really cold in August. And people didn't come to you also have to have a good supply and concession stand. But we still are going to need some ticket takers and some concession stand.
Right.
And my department is having difficulty still.
Absolutely. Very good. Any other questions of Leslie?
On the finance, so before I'm known like 16, Black Knight wasn't a thing, with the city, was Black Knight expenses added into that, or is that just New River?
The only one that had Black Knight was the last financial report.
Okay.
In both pools, I think we're operating on abbreviated schedules and.
Yeah. I was just wondering like 16, just comparing, the
16.
cost and whatever.
It's a wonderfully hot banner year.
Yeah, okay. That's why I
Yeah.
thought it was just New River, but I want to double check on that. And then I know you said that like they would handle maintenance and stuff, but do we still have to pay for chemicals and all that, or is that something they supply? Okay.
Probably the chemicals would be cheaper
For
for us.
us to do.
Such a good relationship with a couple of local firms.
Okay.
And we buy in bulk, and we also buy some concession stand desks from them. So they've always been really good to us. And if say you have a couple of really bad days of weather and the pool turns green on, they'll come so quick.
Jump on it.
So I think it would be best if we would, and they'll do it. That's some of the things you can work with this company and they'll do how you want to do it. Either they'll do as much of it as you want them to do, or they'll do half of it.
Awesome.
They're very easy. So have this,
Yeah.
just fingers crossed that it works out for us.
And from the repair we did to the slide, so that's going to be from the last administration, that's going to be good to go as well.
Oh, it was perfect. I mean, it was so beautiful. and We had it inspected and then we didn't get to open.
Okay.
It's not been wore out.
No,
No.
through, it's ready to roll.
Yeah.
It should be. And, pardon?
No trees.
No.
Really?
And hopefully, we'll get it inspected by the state. And once again, that's one of the reasons that I really feel strongly about 18-year-olds. The state Department of Labor considers them like a carnival ride, and by law, I have to have 18-year-olds there.
Yeah.
So it's not like if I have 16-year-olds somewhere else, I can rotate my lifeguards around, which sometimes, they don't do it, so they have to be 18 on the water slide. So
How many concession stand workers are you looking at with both? And they will
I would
alternate.
maybe some, I would like to have at least 3, and I would like to have 3 ticket takers too, because I can't work, in case somebody gets sick or goes on vacation or
Okay.
family reunion. It would be nice to have 6 more employees.
Are there any things that we can do when you've got the people coming into New River Park? Do they have an extra, like if you want to go over to the pool, is there some kind of a special discount?
Definitely works with that. Lots of when people rent the shelters, or if we know that there's a group coming into the park, a baseball group or something, they get a discounted rate.
Okay.
But the mayor and I, Billy, and I've also discussed, we haven't raised the rates in the 10 years up. And it might be the time, everything else is going up, but we'll just look at it. If we did, it would be a very high.
Not to belabor the fact, thank you, Leslie, going from memory, I think in 2016, our total revenue from admission to the pools and concessions was 143,000. And our total cost for operating the single pool at New River Park at the time was 143,000, which is pretty remarkable, really. That was the year we made $83. Yeah. Which is
Sharon and I bought the freezer.
Yeah.
On sale. We could not keep ice cream.
Yeah. Had a nice hot summer in
Yeah.
2016.
it was. Sometimes there were trips made every day to get ice cream.
Right.
So, good deal.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll mention on a personal nature, and I don't want to embarrass Councilwoman Hunter, but she has a grandson, Christian Martin, who is in a real battle the next 2 or 3 weeks in Morgantown with very serious illness and undergoing 2 different forms of treatment. So again, as we've said in the past, let's keep Christian in our prayers and the family.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sure. Okay, anything from any member of council under old business? Anything from any member of council under new business? One thing I will mention, Tuesday, May the 10th is an off-year election day. And in the past, it's been the custom to cancel the council meeting that would be scheduled on election day. So we have a week or so to think about that. But if there's no objection from council, it would be my recommendation. We follow the tradition and cancel that meeting in favor of the use of council chambers for a polling station. So we just think about that. If you have any other thoughts, feel free to let me know. Next, we're down to public comments, and it looks like we have 7 folks signed up. Would remind you, if you'll identify yourself and take 3 minutes to express your thoughts, that would be good. We have Kimberly Burks and Latasha Williams first.
I am Swantia First, who was murdered at the Southern Regional Jail on March the 1st. Please bear with me. My story is longer than 3 minutes, but I promise not to take up a lot of time. To the chief of police that's going out of office, I have yet to hear from your office to say that my son was murdered at the SRJ. To the new chief coming in, please work with us on this. My son was the autopsy report. We had a second autopsy report done. This is my son. We had a second autopsy report. The autopsy report came out that my son suffered a heart attack. He had blunt force trauma to his body. He had 2 broken wrists because he was handcuffed while he was being beaten. He had bruising all up and down his body. He had boot prints on the back of his back. He had knots on his head, and his forehead is shaped like this. I have yet to receive one phone call from the Beckley Police Department, from the SRJ, from the COs, or anybody else in y'all circle. And I want to know why. Another thing I want to know is, what do y'all plan? How far are you in this investigation, Mr. Mayor? And how far and what's going on with the COs? I know everything is under investigation. We don't know, I'm sure y'all know, who exactly did what, but somebody at the SRJ, more than somebody, it's like 3, 4, 5 people are responsible for the death of my son. For the newspapers and anybody else to say he was combative, okay. How many times are people combative in jail? Y'all have rules and regulations to subdue these people if they are combative, to protect you and to protect them. If he was in a cell by himself, why did your COs go into that cell? This is my son. He's a brother, a son, a fiance, a dad, a grandfather, and all of that. Y'all have taken my heart away from me. And I have yet to hear from you. Nobody in your department, don't know your name, nobody in your department has addressed me to say that my son was murdered. Do you know how I found out my son was murdered? This is my son. He's 37 years old. He was a homeowner. He was a renter. And he had everything going for him. Nothing was wrong with him when they took him to jail. To come out of the jail in a body bag, beaten and bruised up the way he was is not acceptable. It is not acceptable under no means necessary. We have, I don't understand why would you allow, because y'all have been knowing that this stuff was going on at the Southern Regional Jail. From other
You have
CEOs,
30 seconds, ma'am.
that's been retired or returned, they've given newspaper, interviews to the newspaper office, and that nobody in your department has addressed this at all, because nobody was never murdered. My son was murdered at y'all's hands.
10 seconds.
No, what is the deal?
Okay.
What is the
Okay,
investigation?
here's the deal from our standpoint. This is in litigation now. We are not allowed to discuss anything that is in litigation. It could affect the outcome of any future trial. So actually, by law, we will have to remain numb, period. Numb, we can't discuss it. It's in litigation. Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Parham. That was her 3 minutes. You were signed in together, so that was 3 minutes total.
She signed in, but we weren't together, but she still wanted to speak.
Coach, you don't have to run over there. Yeah, but Tom, it's well underway. There was a letter today to Senator Manchin's office right now. It's going to be a $5.2 million project estimated. We're actively pursuing two avenues now. We have a proposed sanitary sewer and stormwater rate increase. We haven't had a rate increase in sanitary sewer. Okay, that includes the Hager Hunter, Hartley, Pinecrest, Little League project. So it's well underway. Probably, you know, we had a in our presentation, we had a newspaper clipping from 1972 that said problems on Hartley Avenue have to be addressed, stormwater. So this thing is 50 years old. And I can honestly say, for the first time in 50 years, in my opinion, we're making real progress. And again, we hope to get grants, but if we don't, this rate increase that is a long time coming is included, that work is included in that rate increase. So we're,
Isn't it about one of the first projects?
it's the first project. It's top of the list. Thanks actually to your councilwoman Janine Bullock. She's ridden herd on the sanitary board to get this done for several years now. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, this is right off the top of my head. A policeman prohibited from joining violent hate groups. Are the policemen prohibited from being members of the numerous hate groups that we have in the United States now?
That's yeah. Chief Bailey says, yes, they are. Thanks, Coach. Kevin Reedy.
So I just got a couple concerns with the rate increases that proposed, and I know they're going to be voted on next week or 2 weeks from now. I just think, with inflation at its all-time high for the last 40 years, I just seen an article yesterday on it that it's the highest it's been since 1982. That, we have a lot of elders and stuff in our area that are on fixed incomes and stuff, and gas stations, they're getting gas everywhere, that it's just the wrong time for these rate increases, I feel like, with the city undoubtedly, it seems like we have an abundance of money, the way we're spending money, that we need to take care of our taxpayers that can't afford this. That's quite a bit of money every month or every 3 months, quarterly, with the stormwater that they're going to have to come up with, I just think it's the wrong time. I wish you all would think about it and take care of the citizens of Beckley instead of, keep increasing. Like I said, they're getting it everywhere else. And, we're buying buildings and stuff. And I know stormwater and stuff's regulated from federal and that kind of thing, but, we're buying a lot on New River Drive. We done bought to build a new sanitary board. It's not good timing when we're trying to spend money for a new building and then hitting these taxpayers up. So it's something to think about before next council meeting and see what we can do to protect the citizens that are, taxpayers.
I agree. I can't say I agree, but I understand the sentiment entirely. The only thing I would say, as far as the building goes, the building, if it comes to pass, is at the very bottom of the list for the sanitary board. They're totally, we're in a building now that was reworked. There were 3 or 4 different car dealerships in there. We have people crowding in offices. So we were able to negotiate a good buy on that lot beside your Moose Club out of foreclosure. It's a nice level lot. And we thought to protect the sanitary board in the future, it would be good to tie it up. But as far as saying that our rate increase is in place to build that building, is incorrect. The other thing, the city of Beckley has been very fortunate to have wonderful finance managers in our recorder treasurer, Billy Trump, our CPA controller, Jessica Chandler. We're prohibited by law from intermingling any funds from the city of Beckley to the sanitary board. Frankly, I mistakenly tried that about 3 years ago, and we transferred $100,000 to stormwater when we had some exorbitant costs in Pine Hills, which is out of the city limits, but it's in our watershed. And we felt like we had to do this. Well, I was roundly scolded by our city attorney who told me, I'm going to end up in jail. You can't do this. You broke the law. So they said the best thing you can do is to make sure this $100,000 loan is repaid from stormwater to the city of Beckley before the next audit or wrap hold, you're going to jail. So we did that. So that's one thing. Now, the other thing is we haven't had an increase in the sanitary sewer system for 7 years. We spent $13 million to upgrade the Piney Creek sanitary sewer plant 6 years ago. We started the process 6 years ago with 0 rate increase. We were able to attract some revenue producing abilities to treat what we call high strength waste in the form of traps and expired grease traps and expired food products. And we accept a tipping fee there. And we were able to avoid any rate increase in it. Now, it's 7 years. As you well know, in the building construction business, your costs have gone up exponentially, and ours have too. What used to be a $2 per foot piece of pipe is now $18 a foot. So we've avoided that price increase, and I know it's difficult, but I will say this. In my mind, if you have a friend or a neighbor who's a Beckley Sanitary Board employee, and he's laid off because this rate increase doesn't go through when it's so direly needed, or if a customer flushes their commode and it doesn't get down the drain properly, then, we're in big trouble. The sanitary board's not doing this to make money or to do it out of spite or anything else. For people who complain, as I'm going to complain, I live in the city, my sewer bill is going to go up, but I know that for 7 years, I didn't have an increase. Now, a lot of people say it would have been better to phase that in incrementally. And there's definitely good logic to that. It's less painful as you go along over a 7-year period. But each time you do that and go back over 7 years for a rate increase, that gives you a black eye. So, we haven't had a rate increase in stormwater for 15 years since it was instituted. People have paid $3.75 a month. Every bad surprise we get in stormwater is a bad surprise. In all honesty, it runs between $250,000 to $500,000 that we're forced to fund out of that $3.75 a month. We have to cash fund every improvement we make in stormwater. So, it's a tough situation, but I think the alternative, we're a city on the move. Nobody likes to pay more, but again, I personally I know people that work at the sanitary board. I don't want to have to tell them they're laid off, or I don't want the citizens of Beckley to come to me as mayor and say our sanitary sewer system is not operating like it should. So, I mean, it's kind of where we are. But I appreciate your sentiments. I know what you're saying. But things like Coach Barham mentioned, this long-awaited project in sanitary sewer along Hager, Hartley, Little League, Pinecrest, it is in the rate increase. And it's the first time we've been able to address it in years, and yet we have people who are suffering flooding every time we have significant rain. So I didn't want to, I'll get off my bandstand now, and I'm sorry Jeremiah's not here, but I'm the chairman of that board. I hear it, month in and month out. I know what we're going through. We had a company, a consulting company called Raftellus. We started 5 years ago looking for their advice. What do we do to address this cash shortfall that we face every time we have a project? And then we have an accountant out of Fairmont who specializes and works with all the municipalities in the state on this very subject. And he, after years of study, he came back, a lot of analysis, and he said, you have no choice. I don't like it. You don't like it. It's difficult, but the alternative is, in my mind, something that, we can't accept either. So again, I'll get off my bandstand, but thank you. Mr. Epling.
Marks and eBay and rate increase for businesses. It's doubled. That means every business uptown is doubled. Correct.
Well, there's a different commercial rate versus residential.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
So that's going to double. That's quite an increase. These people fixed income.
Well, Doug, they haven't had one for 7 years. Have you had to increase anything in your business the past 7 years?
Sure I have.
Okay, the same situation.
Increases like that. When you take it 100% out.
Well, I bet if you look at it over 7 years, it's going to be a higher percentage than you think. Okay.
That's quite an increase for these fixed income people with that.
Well, what do we tell the people? What do we tell the people on Hunter, Hager, and Hartley and Little League?
This law has been existing for decades.
Should just let it go?
We have foresight ahead of time to do this. As y'all are the, were elected by the people of the city of Beckley as the beneficiaries for the city. And why didn't we have an outlook get this fixed before we spend all this money on it. Now, he said the sanitary board was separate, and I understand.
Yeah.
Go legal, but you get 4 ditches in it, control the water.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm puzzled by that the city cannot, like the Board of Public Works, keep it up with some drainage out there.
We've done that. I mean, where we could, we've provided in-kind labor, but that only goes so far. And actually, by law, the sanitary board should be billing, and they do, bill Public Works for that kind of work. So, I mean, it's still a matter of money. Nothing's free.
It just takes care of what you're talking about. This increase takes care of the bond. And it's be limited to.
Allows us to make the bond payment, exactly, unless we get a grant.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was asking. How you get the grant, what happens? Now, this thing is double increasing. What happens? You get the grant, it's still going to stay there?
Well, we won't have an increase for another long time if we get, but grants are iffy, Doug, you know that. Yeah.
It's calculated in. B, or take care of the pocket. And you get a grant to take care of this. Then what's?
I'm sure some relief to the ratepayers will be taken into consideration. I don't have a crystal ball, but I would say that. Doug, we're not out to make a calendar. We're just out to have a operating sanitary sewer system. There, okay. 3 minutes. Okay. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, sir. I'm not getting riled up. Jimmy Peterson, do you want to say something? Well, is it about the sewer increase?
I'll get you on the line.
Okay. Oh.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to say that Beckley lost probably one of their best citizens. And I would really appreciate you all taking under consideration of naming New River Park Pool in her name and honor. You see what the expense is since that woman's passed away. How much money has she saved this city, the YMCA? And I don't know that people really appreciate it.
Well, Jim, not to interrupt you, but that line of thinking is well in place now. And Sharon will be honored along the lines of what she dedicated over her 30 years plus to swimming at the Y at New River Park as director. She ran the state swimming meet at New River Park for years. But you're right.
That as a child, that hasn't been touched by Sharon Nixon, swimming or whatever. And I just appreciate it. Thank you.
I think the day after Sharon passed away, that discussion began.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but I appreciate your
I
saying.
hadn't heard that it had been discussed, and I wanted to make sure it was discussed.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Anything else from the Weeblo Pack 1993? I see you've signed up here. Okay, very good. Okay, let's see. Okay, Senator Roberts.
Greetings to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Report a few things to you that have been going on, are involved with,
We'll do that.
that I've been involved very heavily with. One is I need to inform you to get the word out about a dental oral health care bill that I was instrumental in getting passed 2 years ago. Finally, it was implemented. Everything slowed down with the pandemic. But this thing is fabulous. It provides up to $1,000 per year for people that are on Medicaid or people who make up to 138% of the federal poverty level. That's about $38,000 for a family of four. And a lot of those people, those adults can get up to $1,000 worth of health care for their mouth. West Virginia's on the bottom nationally. We're number 50. We're flat. We have terrible oral hygiene. And this is a way to lift us up off the bottom floor and get some things going. They can do that, and it's any work on their mouth. They get $1,000 in June, and then the fiscal year flips over and they get another $1,000 in July. And you can get $2,000 worth of work. Now, I want you to know that this has been going on for now 1 year. So the DHHR now has given with me the statistics that in Raleigh County, we have had 3,146 people that have taken advantage of this. There have been 23,820 services performed on their mouths for a total of $2,394,610 in the first year. This thing is going to change the smiles of West Virginians. This is only the first year. I can tell you statewide, there have, the number is let's see. I did in my Senate district, there are over 5,000 that took advantage of it with over $3 million. And when you look at all of the numbers and all that goes on with this, we need to let people know they can get some help with their health care
Senator, you have 1 minute, sir.
Okay, now I'm going to tell you something else about, I'm sorry, I'm getting a call from a delegate here on another project. We have to the gentleman that spoke earlier, they are correct when they're telling you things are happening with the stormwater issues. I have fingerprints on that, and I'm dealing with state agencies to try to get that funding so we get that job done, okay? So they're telling the truth when they're telling you something is happening, and that is fairly recently.
20 seconds, sir.
We've got a new goodwill that's going to be coming to the city of Beckley. It's going to be about a year. It'll be a prosperity center, 40,000 square foot, and some good things are going to be happening in the future. Just wanted to update you a little bit. I'll hang around afterwards if you have some more questions. I've got a lot more material.
Perfect. Thank you. Perfect timing. Amy, do we have anybody signed up on the phone to speak from the public? Oh, sorry. For anybody from the public who may like to make a public comment, if you're dialing by phone, please dial *3, which in essence raises your hand to recognize you. If you're connected by computer, click the hand icon on your participants panel, which also recognizes you to speak. While Amy's checking that out, one thing I didn't mention, on May the 14th, we will have the first annual Bill Withers Memorial Festival with 6 different musical groups on the plaza of the big project from about 1 till 7. So it'll be nice. And that morning we have Sweet Treats, yeah, which is also a popular event. Don't have anybody? Okay. Anything else for the good of the cause?
I just want to say something here.
Yeah.
Thanking Jerry always for such a great job that he's doing with the trash pickup. And Ms. Morgan, thank you also. New chief, thank you. I'm constantly sending them emails and they respond very quickly. And I just want to thank you all. And let's pray for that hurting mother. That mother is hurting. She was here and she's hurting. So just pray for her.
Anything else for the good of the cause? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.